Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever y'all are tuning in from. I am in Langley, British Columbia, Canada, on the west coast of Canada, not far from Vancouver. Where's everybody else tuning in from today? I'm always curious to see around the world where everybody is. I've got my teammate Nandi, who is joining us in the comments. She'll enter some comments as I'm presenting things, and I'll let her share where she's in. So we got Panama, cool. London, Oregon, Stamford, Connecticut, cool. Austin, Texas, New Jersey. All right, got the U.S. contingency. Spain, very cool. Switzerland, all right, I love these international crowds. All right, give it another little bit here while people are making their way in. India, okay. Cool, it's gonna be a good one today, I think. So this is how to train your Browse AI robots. It is very much focused on the training process, not so much the other things that Browse AI does. I want to focus today on training robots because that's the crux of it, right? That's where everything begins. So let's turn off the music here and get into a few slides. Not too many things to present today. Okay, so first of all, I guess who am I? My name is Nick Simard. I've been at Browse AI since August of 2023, so it's coming up on 2 years. Before that, I was at Zapier for 7 years. So I started out as a customer champion, and then I went into customer success, and then I ended up in the community where I helped a lot of users that way, created some content. So I touched a lot of apps in my time at Zapier. Fell in love with no code and with automation and just apps in general. And then AI came along, and in fact, I bought the original Browse AI lifetime deal years ago before I even knew if I had a need for it. I just thought it was a really cool product, and that might be where you're sitting. You think it's neat. You see there's some application, but you're not quite sure what yet, and maybe you just need a little help learning how to use it. So that's what I am here for today. So literally just a few slides on terminology first, just so we're clear on the language I'm using, and then we're going to jump into a demo. So first, robot. The robot is the automated assistant that you are training to extract and monitor the web data for you. So robot is what you train to do what you would otherwise be doing manually. Origin URL is where you're starting, the starting web address where your robot is beginning to extract that data. I say starting because sometimes you can start on a particular website and then do something like a search or click into some filters or click into a tab, some other thing like that. So this is the starting place. Input parameters. A search is the most common one, would be something that you could input during the training of your robot so that afterwards you can put that in as a dynamic field. So input parameters are variables you can change each time the robot runs. Robot Studio is the newest, latest, and greatest interface for training the robot itself. Browse AI began as a Chrome extension. We still have a Chrome extension. In some cases, maybe if you're running into problems with Robot Studio, you could try the extension, but for most cases, Robot Studio will be the better option for you. You'll see two options when you start to extract things. Capture list. This should be an obvious one. It's when the website displays something in a repeating pattern. So it could be a list of people, places, properties, products, things like that, where there's a lot of that same item on a page. Could be a grid, could be a list. I have an asterisk because there is a list page, typically an overview page of all the items, and then a detail page for a lot of these websites. You can capture a list on a detail page and details on a list page. So that's why I have an asterisk here as well. You can capture static text in addition to a list. So a list is the repeating pattern of things, and static text is something that appears just one time. Often this is on the detail pages, and I'll show you that in a moment. And before we jump in, just a few of the use cases for Browse AI. I'm not going to list all of them. You can have a look at them here, maybe give you some ideas. So competitive intelligence is a big one. Tracking pricing, features, marketing, content aggregation, getting content from multiple sources, lead gen, market research. LLM is a big one that is kind of a newer entry in the past couple of years since we've got so much power in processing raw data. Maybe you don't even need to have it super organized. You just kind of throw everything into an LLM like OpenAI, ChatGPT, Claude, something like that. Anybody want to share what their use case is? I'm always curious to see what others are doing because it gives us ideas of content or just, what are you doing with Browse AI, or what are you hoping to do if you haven't yet begun? Anybody want to share what they're trying to do? Even at a broad overview. It doesn't have to be super detailed. I'd love to hear examples. Scraping businesses. Yep, that's a common one. Business directories. Real estate is a big one also. Nobody wants to share. Scraping YouTube episodes. Okay, that's a good one too. Yeah, that's a common use case. All right, as y'all are leaving some comments, I'm going to move you to my other display so that I can display the demo content here. Taking information from ixl.com, questions from an education website, scripting competitor product level. Nice. Okay, very cool. So I will switch over to the demo portion here. So this is a website I like to use. And as I'm presenting, you can ask comments, ask questions, make comments. Nadia will be in the comments to help you out. So this is a website I like to use because it has a lot of the features that are nice to demonstrate. So for example, there's filters here on the left, and when you click into them, it changes the URL. I like when that happens because then you can just copy that URL and get exactly what you need instead of doing the clicking in the training part of the robot. So it's got these filters and it's got search. So I'm going to copy this. This is the origin URL. So I'm starting here. I won't yet do any filtered search. I'll show that afterwards. I'll just do the most bare bones, straightforward. This is the URL. We're just going to start here, build new robots. This first page, extract structured data or monitor site changes. It can confuse people. They will get you into the same starting process of training a robot. This one just will immediately prompt you to build a monitor. And a monitor is something you set up a schedule to then go scrape that website. So each of these will get you into the same starting process. You don't have to worry if you click this one, you won't be able to set up a monitor. You can do that afterwards. So each one will start you on the same page here of pasting URL. I don't need to log into this website, so I won't check that box. We do have that capability with the Chrome extension. You can log into websites and get things behind a login. When there is a pre-built robot, which is a robot we have built already for you that you don't have to do much of the work, just put a couple pieces of data and then you're off to the races. When one exists for your website, if it's a fairly common website, we'll show it down here. I'm not going to use that because this is how to train your robot. So just be aware that it might pop up down here and you can try it and it might be exactly what you need. So I'll click Start Training Robot and I'll use Robot Studio. Again, you can use the Chrome extension, but I'll use Robot Studio and I'll show you them. There's several reasons, but one of the main reasons I love using Robot Studio. There are lots. It's quite an improvement over the extension. Now, when this page loads, it's going to look exactly like what I just was looking at. If you hear snoring in the background, that is one of my beagles. Apologies. Will usually load pretty quickly, and if it doesn't, honestly, you can refresh the browser window and get it going. There we go. Okay, so once the page loads, I guess let's just take a look at what this page is showing us. So on the right, you'll have this little robot assistant kind of follows your cursor around, and if you don't know what to do, there's always instructions here. So what do you want to extract? To begin, navigate to the page you'd like to extract data from. So this is where I could and click on some filters here, maybe do a search, and that is where I would then start to extract data. And the robot gets all of that and would do all of that in the future. So I can capture text or capture a screenshot. Let's first capture text. Now, this is an example of a list page. So I want to get all these companies here. I'm not going to do them one by one. I'm going to get them as a list. So I'll click from a list. And as I hover around, you'll see this is very obvious. List item 1, 2, 3. A lot of these things are also lists as you move around. Some are more useful to get than others, but this is the one that's most obvious. So I'll click here. And if you want to make sure that you're getting all the items, you can scroll down a bit to make sure. Sometimes on some websites, if it's a bit more complex, maybe it'll look like you're getting all the items, but then for some reason, because of the layout or the structure, it does not. So this looks like it's getting everything. So I'm just going to click. And this is one of the best features. Before I'm even done explaining it, it's going to be done. Getting the likely data points you want from each of those items. And there we go. So it did all this work for me. I don't have to select them. I don't have to name them. I can modify it. So I can change this to companies. I could delete. Let's say I don't want I might not want the batch URL. So I can click and remove column. Maybe I don't want any of these URLs. So I just click and get rid of them. Cool. So those are all gone. I could rename this to just company. So you can rename them and remove them. And if you're not happy with what it has selected for you, you can select them manually instead. I might show that later, but for now, just know that it's likely going to get you what you want. So this little workflow available, I do want to call this out. What this is telling you is, hey, we found a URL on each of these items that looks like it's to maybe a detail page. So you could set up a second robot and then build a workflow to get all these items and then get data from all those detail pages. So just keep an eye on these little magic looking tooltips here to give you some hints. So I would like to first decide how many rows of data I want to extract. And if you don't know what to do next, again, right here, choose the number of items to extract. So you get the instructions, the step-by-step here on the right, what's been done. I'm going to say I want 100 items. How can we find the next item? We usually auto-detect what we think is going to be the method. Scroll down to load more items. I'm going to review that. That actually is, I know, because I've done this many times, that's how this website loads more items. So as I scroll, you see it's loading more. If I wanted to reselect it, if that had not been correct, these are the other options. The most common ones, you've probably seen these before. Click on next, that's a big one. Click on load more, that's very common. Scroll down to load more, also very common. I've not seen scroll up to load more that often, but it's in here because it must exist. And sometimes there just are no more items to load. There's either not more or you don't want to get more, and so you can just say, nah, don't want to. So I'm gonna say scroll down to load more. Everything is looking as I want it to, so I will say save captured list. Now, the reason that asterisk was there earlier is because you might think, well, I've saved the list. I guess I can't do anything else. Well, you totally can do other things. I can go capture other lists if they existed, or just text. So I like to get this item here just to know how many companies there were in that particular search. There are a lot in this one because I haven't filtered by anything, but I like to get this piece right here. And maybe let's confirm this and call it how many. Save capture text. So I can see I've gotten companies and capture text, just one thing. Save capture text. I can also capture a screenshot. I can either do a selection, so I tell it what part of the website I want, the entire page, or the part that's visible when the website loads. I'm going to click selection, and I want, and as you move your mouse around, you'll see it's getting finer and finer selection here. So I want actually this whole box of all the companies, not that search, but all these companies. And let's call it company screenshot. Okay, so let's be done recording this. So I'll finish recording this. If you did get a piece of data here, let's say I don't want sub-industry, I can delete it from here as well. So now that's gone and it's exactly what I want. I've named everything. I've gotten a list of items. I've gotten static text and a screenshot. Let's finish and see what happens. Give you an automatic name of the robot as well. You could rename that if you want. And let's save. So what's going to happen now is it's going to run on a cloud server. It's going to simulate my actions. And you can see here 79 items right here. And you should also see, yep, one text and one screenshot. Okay, so it got showing 120 of 1,000 plus companies, got me 100 of those companies. I can see all of them if I click here. Okay, very nice. If there's anything yellow, it means there wasn't a piece of data there for that particular item, which happens sometimes. Captured screenshot. It's very long. If I click on it, it won't help because it's too long to see the entire thing. But as you can see, it's exactly what I wanted. That's great. Okay, so I'm going to click yes, looks good. So on this run task page, a few things to note. One, it's saying, hey, remember that URL that I mentioned about the workflow? You could train another robot to do that, to get data from one of those items. So I could click on that. I'm not going to use this option. I'll show you that manually in a second. You can see the history, so you can click in and see the one run that we've already done. I'm going to run a task. Now, you might think you have to create a separate robot if you wanted something different. Like, oh, I want it for, click into spring 2025 and then America, Canada. I got to train a robot on this because this is different. Nope. It's exactly the same layout. It's all the same structure. Nothing has changed except for what is being shown, like the number of items. So I can copy this URL and go run it right here. So I can run a task. I can save it as a default if I change my mind and said, oh, I trained it on all the companies, but that's never going to be super helpful. So I want to, by default, make it, spring 2025. You could change it to default. I don't want to change default. I'm just going to run it one time, and I'll do 100 companies. So I did 100 companies, and I did this, I believe. So there should be 98 companies. So it shouldn't actually get 100 because there are not 100. So this task will run, and you'll see it'll get me everything the original one did. Usually it does not take very long, but as this is happening, let's actually go through and I'll show you training. Let's start on spring 2025 because that's a bit more useful. So I'll copy this and I'll go train another robot while this one's running. Simulating it, well, okay, it's pretty close. Let's just let it go. All right, again, 73 items. It should be 98 is what we saw. There we go, 98, one piece of text. And it should be one screenshot as well. And there we go. So this is why I like to do that, because it confirms to me what I know should be happening. And then I can see, yep, sure enough, it was 98 companies and 98 companies down here. Cool. So let's go train another robot on this other URL that's a bit more refined, just this batch of spring 2025 companies. Start training robot, and we'll use Robot Studio. And in this time, I'm going to put a search in here. Let's do AI. So AI will show me 101 companies. So let's do that in the robot. All right, so I'm going to do a search for AI here, press enter, 101 companies, and then I'll train it on this. I won't do all the same things as before since I've already shown it. We'll just do the list of items and probably not even rename things. I say, yeah, this is good. I'll say I want more than 100 because there are 101 items. So let's say custom. I think my space is blocking that, but custom 150. Scroll down to a little more. Items is correct, as we saw earlier. Save captured list and confirm the pagination here, and we'll finish recording this. So now what that's going to do is it's going to create an input parameter that in the future I can put something different in. So if I wanted to, let's remove this one and say I wanted to do it for code. So code would have 47 companies. So once this runs, you'll see the first one was 101, I believe. Yeah, there we go, 101. So this makes it more flexible in the future, so you don't have to every time figure out what the URL would be. Because in some cases, maybe your search doesn't change the URL. So you literally have to train the robot to do it because the URL won't change based on that query. So this gives you more flexibility to do so. So I'll say, yes, this looks good. And on this run task page, you notice there's now the search. So first time I searched AI, now I'll do code. And I know that based on that search of code, there should be 47 companies. So I can run this task. And again, I didn't have to train any separate robots. I don't have to do anything different. I just trained it one time, made sure to do the search in the training of the robot. And then I can change that search, and then 47 companies. Looks good, 47 right there. Perfect. So now we're good. I have a bit more flexibility. I can either input them one at a time, or I could do a bulk run. For example, I could do a bulk run either from here or from tables, and I could import a CSV maybe with all kinds of search terms. And then all of a sudden, I've now done a lot of different scraping tasks based on the various searches I might want to do here. So let's go to click on one of these companies from this search, from this spring 2025 of code. Let's click into code 4. So now I want to build a robot to get more details. It's great that I'm getting a little bit from here, but let's say I want to get more details. Like I want these items here, some stuff from the sidebar over here. Maybe I want the founders. So you can copy the URL of any one of these single items. Now, I will give you a tip. Try to pick the best representation of that item, the one that will give you the most pieces of data that you might be interested in the future. So for example, if you know that you want one, if you want to get the founders, you want to train it on one that has these founders. Otherwise, in the future, if you didn't tell it to do that, it can't. So maybe there won't be, well, I guess every company will have founders, but you know what I mean. If something wasn't there, you want to make sure you get the best possible example to train it on. So let's start training a robot on just that one single company. Okay, so because we're on a detail page, you would probably think to yourself, well, I want to get some details, some single pieces of text. You can totally do that. But as I said, you can combine and mix and match how on the list page, I got that little piece of text. On this detail page, I can get this list. You might think, oh, I just want text. I want these pieces of text. Well, it's actually a list. And that makes it easier because when you hover and click, Robot Studio says, oh, hey, okay, this is a repeating list of items, and I'll get you the things that are on each one, like the name, the role, profile image, LinkedIn profile, Twitter profile. So I'll keep the name as founders. There's probably not going to be ever more than 10 founders. This is an example of I don't need pagination because there won't ever be a case where it's going to say load more or next page. They all appear here. So no more items to load is what I will select. And we'll say done for the list, save captured list. So now you could stop there. Let's say that's all you wanted. You're like, I just want to know the founders of these companies. You don't have to do anything else here. But you are going to use a credit to scrape a page regardless. So you might as well get as much data from it as you can. And I would suggest we don't yet have the ability to join the tables of multiple robots. It's coming. So I would get every piece of data that you want in this one detailed robot. So you might think, I already got the name and description in the other robot. Well, you don't want to be going back and forth. So just get it again here and use the other one maybe as like the feeder or funneler robot that feeds to the second robot. Hey, just go to each of these URLs. And then this is the one maybe that gets you the final output. So let's do company name, description. I'll do the batch. Now, as you see, you can get various levels of precision. So if I go here, this wouldn't be super useful unless I wanted to toss it all into, some sort of large language model. But as you move your mouse a little bit, you'll see, for example, on this one right here, I can get the link of this batch, but I don't actually want that. I want the text. So moving your mouse a little bit will change the results of what you're getting here. I'll just get this first one and the second one. And then on this side, this is a great example. So I don't want the word founded. It looks like, oh, this is what I want. I want the year it was founded, but I don't want that text before the year. So if you move your mouse just a little bit, it gets you only what you want. Spring 2025, team size. I'm going to show you actually what you can do. Let's say you get it wrong. Let's say you missed this one and you're like, okay, I want team size. And you didn't get it exactly how you wanted it. The word team size is still in there. I'll show you how to fix that. And we'll get the website and let's be done with that. Center. So company, description, batch, company status. This is industry. Since there's multiple, I'll just call them industry 1 and industry 2. And then founded. Oh, I got the batch again. Oh, well. Batch 2. Team size. And website. Okay, so a couple things. One, I got batch twice. I don't want batch twice. What do? Well, I first save this captured text. And then on the right here, you'll see I can delete something. So I don't want batch 2 deletes. And then I realized that for team size, oh no, I've got the word team size in there. I don't want that. That's not useful. I don't want it that way. So you delete it and you can just go capture text again. Capture text, just text. And then you say, all right, let's get it right this time. Team size. Press enter. Team size. Done. So new captures, capture text from before, and the list of founders. So when I click save captured text, you'll see now they're all in one. They're all in the same place. It's not like a separate thing. It is in the order that I recorded them. So it's at the end rather than where I originally recorded, which is fine. It's better than starting the whole training over because I did something a little bit wrong. Okay, so that's probably good for this page. Let's finish. Once again, we'll give the name an auto name, robot an auto name here. That's great. Company details. And now we'll run this. Let's click into another company here. Okay, so this one has 2 founders and not 3. So let's just do that one next. Okay, so you can see here team size is at the end, but it's exactly how I wanted it, just the number 3, not with the word team size. Now, it is coming in tables that you'll be able to clean data with formulas and like regex, where you could say, oh, I don't actually want because sometimes maybe you can't even narrow it down. Like for some reason, the structure of the website doesn't let you just get that 3. It is coming in tables that you'll be able to say, hey, I just want this part of the data. So that's coming in the fairly near future. So let's do a different company here. Let's do Lumari and run that task. So the first example had 3 founders. This one has 2. Doesn't matter because it's a list, and the list is dynamic, so it won't be wrong. So you can see 2 list items. That's the founders, and then it will get me all the pieces of data. There we go. So let's real quick, I guess. I know this is about training robot. Let's real quick go into the table of this one. And from tables, you'll see this main tab and also one for each of the lists you've gotten. So YC companies was one of the lists. I can click into and see just this one from the code search. I can click in and I can hide columns. So let's say I don't want all these browse AI created ones about the robot itself. I can hide them. And then I'm left with something a little bit cleaner to look at. All right, so we've done a list page. We've done a detail page. Let me show you an example of when you want to get a lot of items, but there isn't a pagination option. So this is an example here. There is no pagination. Next, load more. It's just each separate individual page. Well, we can train it on just one of these pages here. Let's go click on the first one and train a new robot, build new robots. Because that could happen where there isn't pagination and you're like, oh, how am I going to tell it to get the next items? It's not super straightforward or obvious, but I'm going to show you how you can do it. With a bit of a caveat. So we'll first train it on any one of the list item pages. Well, I guess I'll show you while this is loading. So ideally, you'll want something, and most sites I'm imagining will show you like something in the URL that gives you the page number. If not, it'll get a little trickier. But if there's no pagination option, and there's at least these page numbers, you can then feed those URLs, either one at a time if it wasn't a big deal and a one-time scrape, or you could create a monitor and say, hey, I know that there's these number of pages, and you create a separate monitor for each one of those. You don't need a separate robot, just a separate monitor. So first we'll train it on just any of the pages. You could also do a bulk run. Like let's say there's 1,000 pages. You could do a bulk run where you upload, and in most spreadsheet programs, it's pretty easy. If there's like a number and you just drag down and it like increases that number. So you could do that pretty easily. Let's first train it on any one of these. So capture text from a list. So you might think to yourself, this might be a common error. You might think, oh yeah, this is the data I want. I want the title and the location and when it was posted. That's not the list of items you want. Those are the data points. So when you click into an individual list item, like the larger piece, that's where the robot goes in and gets you the things you actually want. Because if you said you want a list of items and you just click on that more refined part, it doesn't know that you want all of the job listings on that page. It'll just get you those 3 things. So just something to be aware of. How many are there on a page? Not sure. Let's just say 100. And pagination. So review pagination. It thinks next. Technically, this is the next page for this one time, but it won't be the next page for subsequent robots. So if you train it on this page, oh, go to page 3 and go next. It won't necessarily know that. Pretty sure. I haven't tested it, but I'm imagining since it's not a true go to the next page, regardless of the page you're on, I don't think that'll work. So let's reselect and say no more items to load because there's not really pagination. So let's save that captured list and click finish. And job list is fine. And let's just save this. So now I will just select any one of these, page 3, for example. It already would be pretty handy for something like this, if it's 4 pages, to just do them manually. Like you train it on one, and then you go to the run task page and do it that way. That would still be pretty quick. But if it's 50 pages, 60 pages, that's not the most efficient. So you could then do a bulk run where you upload a list of URLs. Or I'll show you in tables in a second. Once this is done, you could kind of do a little bit manual, but not one at a time from run task. Any questions? How do you expand this text box? Seem to only capture smaller amounts of data. So Lester, that is moving your mouse around. It'll depend on the website structure. Some might be less cooperative than others, but that's like those slight mouse movements can show you bigger or smaller selections on the page. Anything else? Oh, just use cases. Okay, you guys don't have any questions. All right. We will do questions at the end. Nadia will be presenting a bit of information on our pricing options, and then we'll jump into questions. If anybody has questions, oftentimes I've gotten, actually, the next website I'm going to show was, I think, came from a question during a session. Someone pointed out. So I do like examples of things people are trying to scrape. So you can see all the steps here, opening Chrome, navigating to this website. And it'll say simulating user actions, and then you'll see right here a little preview. There we go. Can you tell I've done this a lot of times? I'm going to show you a little preview of how many list items. By no means do you have to sit and watch this page. You can leave this page and go do other things if you want. Like I can go train more robots if I want, but same results. All right, this shouldn't take very long. Now, I don't want to train a new robot. I want to use the same robot. It's the same website, same type of structure. I don't need to train a new robot. I'm just going to give it a different URL. Taking longer than usual. No, don't do this to me. Did I already do this website? I did not. I did a different website. That's okay. Okay, well, while that's going, let's show you another example, actually. So this is an example of a website that when you click into these filters, a lot of great filters, you might think, oh, I'll just click into CEO, and then I'll click into leadership. Well, your URL isn't changing, so that's kind of a bummer. You can't do that cheating method where you click those filters and then copy the URL and scrape that. So this one's a bit trickier. You can train the robot to click into those, or on this particular site, you can do something a little cooler. Oh, there we go. This did load. Okay, I'll continue what I was showing you because we started that, and then I'll come back to this pagination. So this website is a little trickier to do, but check this out. Because of its structure, these are actually also search boxes. So you can, instead of just clicking in and making a more narrow selection, so the robot would every time click that option, you can actually put some text in there. Now, that's not going to be every website, but I'm trying to show you examples of if you encounter something, how you can use it to the best of your ability to become more flexible and dynamic and give you more options of scraping with less work, less repetition of things. So I can type in here CEO, press enter, and see how it checks that box. And then I could do leadership, press enter, and it checks that box. So it simulates the exact thing of checking boxes. So that's what I'm going to tell my robot to do. Here's an example. Oh, I was about to refresh it. You're lucky, robot. Okay. I'm also just impatient. Okay, so let's go down here and do exactly what I just showed you. So we'll type in CEO, press enter, and then leadership, center. Okay, so now it has filtered this list, and let's capture text. Click in, and I won't spend a bunch of time like refining this. I just want to show you how convenient it is. Pagination, click on load more. Let's see, is that true? It is not actually. It's scroll down to load more. So let's reselect that, scroll down to load more items, hit captured list, and we'll finish recording. Expert sources list. By the way, this is a really cool website, Quoted. If you want sources to quote on maybe a story you're writing, you come here and you find these people and you click in, and then you can see all kinds of information about their bio, their media, some story ideas based on what they've created already. Super cool website. Okay, so once this is done, I'll show you how to do, let's do a different search. Let's go back and let's do a search for founder and marketing. All right, so there should be, how many items there? 447 results with that query. Okay, cool. So let's save this. This looks good. So now let's do, founder and then marketing. And then it said there were 447. So I'll just say I want a limit of 500. And let's run that task. So while that's running, let's go back to this Episcopal jobs list. Okay, so I've done the one URL of the main page. Let's go to page 3, train it on that, or send it to that. Nope, correction, we're going to use tables. So you can either import a CSV, or I can just add a new row. So I could paste it here and then start extracting data. And let's say there are only 4 pages, so I don't necessarily need to go out of my way and like create a CSV or do monitors. I just want a one-time scrape. And so I'll just do that, start extracting data, and then let's do page 4. So this is an example of a way you could do it a little bit manual if it's just a one-time thing. Apply filters to be discarded. Yeah, start extracting. Extract anyway. I didn't want that filter. So yeah, in progress, in progress, in progress. So these are all the other pages I did. So now I'll show you real briefly because it's not about monitors, but you could make monitors if you wanted to do this on a schedule. You could put the page numbers in here and then you could keep that going. So for example, if you happen to know, like there's rarely ever more than 4 pages here, cool. Make monitors for all those 4 pages, scrape them all, and you'll get everything that you need. So back to the other thing, the quoted. Okay, so there's successfully 447 items. So there we go. So that used the search parameters that I put in. So that's an example of when a website does not have the URL changing based on filters, which can happen. It's not as common, but if it does, you can get around it. I could have clicked in. If there was no search box here, I could click in, but that would be the one time, hey, you told me to click founder and marketing, so that's what I did. Next time the robot does it. And the last thing I'm going to show you is when a website has something that you want and you train a robot on it, and then you think, oh, I want some other things as well, you don't necessarily have to create separate robots. So let's say I train a robot on this speakers page right here. Okay, it looks like there's individual items with the title and the name and the company. So I train it on this, and then I keep going, and I'm like, oh, I might want attendees also. Okay. An astute observer might say, this looks pretty similar. I wonder if I can use the same robot to scrape this page since it looks like kind of the same structure. What about featured startups? Also looks pretty similar, same kind of layout. Not exactly all the same information, but they look pretty similar, as do the partners. So a lot of web designers will not want to reinvent the wheel. So they'll reuse the same type of components for things that are not the same. A partner is not a startup, is not a speaker, is not an attendee. But check this out. I only trained one robot here. I trained it on, well, let's see, let's go to settings. I trained it on speakers. So I trained it on speakers, and then I ran all these separate tasks. Now, it's tricky because how do you pick one column name that will be applicable to all those things if it's giving you different information? It's not perfect. But if what I ultimately wanted was to just get the details, I would really just need the link from each of these. Maybe like the main name of it and then the link to the detail page. So check this out. So I started with speakers, click into speakers, name, title, company, profile link. Okay, cool. And then I went to featured attendees. Some of these didn't come in properly for some reason. So I guess that would be a reason to make another robot, but pretty good. I still get the profile link and most of the information I want. And I go to main, go back to featured startups. This is just one robot, just using those different URLs, name and profile link. So that was a lot of work I didn't have to do. I didn't have to make 4 robots. So let's say ultimately, and these pages look the same as well. So I could probably just train it on one of these. Let's say I want just the name and then the bio and location and then this industry here. Well, check it out. That's an attendee or a speaker. This is an attendee, and that's actually just a filtered list in some cases. It might be the same items, but filtered. But startups are a different thing entirely. They are not in the same area, but the name and the, it's kind of all the same information. So I could train just one robot on each of these. So all of a sudden I've trained only 2 robots, one to get me the first list and the link to the detail page, and then one to get me stuff from the detail page. And as long as the thing you want appears on all of them, you could ultimately name it whatever you want. These seem to be kind of the same thing: name, bio, location, industry. So that's an example of don't duplicate your work if you don't need to. If it's on the same website and it looks like it's kind of a similar structure, maybe you don't have to do it all over again. Now, can you go to Nike.com and get products and then say, oh, can I just try this on Adidas? Unlikely. That's way different. But if it's on the same website, a lot of designers will reuse components and structures, and you might be able to get away with that. So let me get you into, that's the end of the demo, get you over to Nandi to talk about some pricing options.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Nick. Let me just turn my video on real quick. Hi, everybody. Pleasure to be on this webinar and to give you a little bit of insight into our pricing. My name is Nandi. I'm part of the sales team here at Browse AI. Just give me a moment. So as you can see on our first slide here, it's actually our self-serve plans. Browse AI offers flexible pricing that scales with your specific needs. So for one-time data extraction, our starter annual plan gives you approximately 100,000 rows of data and 10 robots for $228 with all credits upfront at a 20% discount. If you're just beginning with ongoing extraction, our professional 5K plan provides 50,000 rows and 20 robots monthly for $123.75. For larger needs, our professional 60K plan delivers around 600,000 rows of data annually. Annually with the same 20% savings at $1,188. Each option is designed to match your data volume requirements. So it really does depend on how much data you're looking to extract. So that's on our self-serve category. On the second option that we have is a fully managed solution, which will be on our premium category. For organizations with complex data needs, our premium managed solution starts at $500 monthly. That's paid annually. This white glove service includes a personal consultation to understand your requirements, which will likely be with me or one of my colleagues, followed by a free data sample. Our experts handle everything from start to finish. So it includes setup, ongoing data extraction and monitoring. If you have any specific data transformations or integrations that you need, that can be done as well. So all the way from setup to end result, that is delivery, will be handled by us. So you can focus solely on using the insights. The best part is that we'll have you up and running in just 10 days with our very highly experienced and competent data extraction team. That's pretty much the two options that we have. But, we conduct these webinars weekly, so it should give you enough information on what our platform does and what our pricing looks like. But if you're still a little bit confused on, hey, like I know I want to get a Browse AI pay plan, but I'm not really sure what's going to be the best plan for my use case. Or if you're somebody that's just like, I just don't, the product is wonderful, but I just don't have the time to do it myself. Then if you fall into either one of those categories, I'm going to put my calendar link in the chat right now. You can feel free to book 30 minutes with me at any time, and I'll be more than happy to dive a little bit deeper into your use case, and I'll be able to recommend best next steps for you, whether it's a self-serve plan or if you will benefit more from our premium option. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Nandi. Lester, I deleted your comment because you had a username and password in there. I didn't want that for the whole world to see. I don't know if do I need a password to get just from math grade 1? There's a lot of information here. There's a lot of data. So you asked, here's a page I'm trying to scrape, educational websites. This is data for integration data system. Well, walking you through initial robot setup, this might be something for our Ask Me How session on Friday, where it's a bit more hands-on, one-on-one. You can come with something like this, and then we could maybe help you walk through it. But out of curiosity, let me see what each of these pages looks like. Because then we can go back and forth and ask some questions. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know what you would be scraping from each of these. Let me just share my screen, I guess, so people can see what I'm looking at. Okay, so you've got a page like this. This is math grade 1. You could certainly extract all these links and click into each of these items. I don't know what you would be getting from each of these that would be consistent. You can also reach out to our support team. They're happy to help you walk through things like this. Oh, just the questions for each. So, like, how many bears are there, like this here? That should be pretty straightforward. Let me just try it, actually. Let's just try this out. I don't have a password, but I don't know if I need a password to just test this out. In theory, we're doing it live. That's why I ask for examples sometimes. It's cool to test things and see how it will work. I'm hoping each of these is a list item that gives me the link to the detail, and then the detail could just get the question. Okay, gotcha. So, can I close this? Let's see if I can close this. Okay, cool. From a list, so let's see. Okay, so at least does it by section. So that's something. Grade 1 math skills, yeah, skill link, yeah, okay. So let's just say I want 100, select pagination. I don't think there is because it's just static list, no more items, save captured list, and let's finish. So that would get us the lists of not all of them. Support could potentially help you if the Robot Studio can't get all of them. They could maybe help you tweak the robot to make it so you wouldn't have to build a robot for each of these A, B, C, D, E. Again, not the worst experience if you had to do it anyways. It's still going to be much faster than trying to do it manually. But while that's going, let's just train it on one of these questions. Building a robot on just a single page and see if that's easy to get. And then you could do build a workflow and have that run automatically. Every time you get a list item, go to the detail page and get me that thing. Not covered in this webinar, but we do have some other resources, videos and past webinars about deep scraping. So close you, please. It's not liking. Okay, can I capture text around it? Can, yep. So yeah, visible text, question, confirm. So I guess you learned something. You can go around a pop-up sometimes. You don't even have to necessarily close it. Not always. Question. Okay, cool. Nothing else. What are you asking me to do? Right. Maybe it doesn't. Didn't actually do it because this box is a disturbance. But yeah, you could use the Chrome extension and say this website does require logging in and do the username and password. So it should work pretty straightforward. And then for the sake of just quickly showing you what a workflow would look like, discard, please. Okay, so I'll use two robots I have built already, which would be like companies list and company details. Go into a workflow and say, all right, what's robot A? Robot A is the one that gets me the list of items, companies list. Cool, these are the output columns. Next step, what's robot B? The one that gets me the details. Perfect. What is the origin URL? What URL is robot A getting me that I need to go to? Well, company URL. Next step, I'd say always save and enable workflow. And that's it. Once you've built your robots to do what you want, you build a workflow to say, every time this happens, do this thing. and then your robot B will get you all of the things you've trained it on. So should be doable. Hopefully that was helpful. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you've already created a ticket, you should be able to get some help there. Or show up on Friday and we can maybe dig in. I did take a screenshot, so I have the username and password. I could try and see if I can get something going. Any other questions from anyone? Let's see if anybody asks something that I missed earlier. Oh, I think I started something. Can a bot be trained to make comparisons between two different data sets? Depends. I need a bit of elaboration on that. You can see when something has changed in like the single data set. One robot can't necessarily compare different data sets. Great question for Friday, though. If you want to show up, I'm going to, you know what, I'll just give you the link to that right now because you're here. 1 second. All right, so this is coming up on Friday, same time of day. Anybody wants to show up? Yeah, that'd be a great question to maybe have some elaboration on what exactly you're trying to do. But yeah, the robot primarily is meant to go scrape the data, and you can see when something has changed. In tables, you can see that something has changed. You can also, if you go into history, you can see when something has changed. But the comparison part, not quite yet. That's where tables come in. We're trying to make tables much more powerful, much more useful, so you can have one table that shows you multiple robots worth of data, so you can modify the data in there and do a bit of this extra work that you don't want to necessarily do manually. Robot will search data and show it, but does not format or compare. Yeah, it's not quite yet set up to do that comparison. But you could export or integrate with Google Sheets or Airtable. Use something like Zapier, Pabbly, or Make to send it, elsewhere, and then do that somewhere else. We want to get there. We want to get to a place where the table inside of Browse AI lets you do more of this kind of stuff. Slowly but surely. Any other questions? Give it a couple minutes, and if not, I will wrap it up for today and hope to see some of you maybe on Friday to get a bit more hands-on, dig into some stuff. Anybody else? Questions? No? If not, thanks so much for showing up, for paying attention, asking some questions. It's always great to get in front of people and to teach you all this information that might not be obvious. So I think we'll wrap it up there. Nandi, anything else?
Yeah, no, that's it from me. Thank you, everyone. I'm hoping to see some of you on my calendar. But
don't forget Nandi as well.
Forward to speaking with all of you.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.